I'm Nate G219, and this is the Help of Back and Better. Y'all know what it is, another one coming at y'all. First, hit that like and subscribe. Hit that channel if y'all want to help out. Today is Friday, March 21st, just after 9 o'clock in the morning, maybe 9:30. But you know that's that relevance for today. As you can hear, I'm a little raspy. I've had a cold the last few days. It sucks. Getting sick and tired of it. But first, I'm going to be doing a reaction to this. Gentlemen, this is an event that happened on October 10th of 2020. So this is a few years old, but this was just sent to me yesterday by my son, and let's get into it. This is a short clip, but I am going to have a video coming at with it. So,
an inmate in the Indiana jail only lasted 2 days as he was taken out of his protective custody cell and put into a 30-man unit where he would be brutally beaten for over 2 hours by 10 inmates.
By the looks of things, you already assume what he did or had something to do with. Now, I did do some research. This happened in the Marion County Jail, Indianapolis, Indiana. Very large jail. And like you heard, didn't last 2 days. And I've heard other reports he didn't last on the deck 2 hours. So there's many conflicting things, but we'll talk about that later.
He was hogtied. He had his head put into a toilet that was filled with bleach, where they would jump off the top bunk onto his head. He was stabbed, kicked, beaten, and drowned in bleach, toilet water, and blood. He only lasted 2 days. The whole reason is he hurt children. Let's get into it. Cruz was housed.
Now think about that, what he just described. Regardless of who you are, imagine that being the last thing you see. Going face down into a toilet with bleach getting dumped on you. People jumping off the bunk onto the top of your head. And might I add, that toilet's solid steel. I don't know if y'all have ever touched steel. It's very unforgiving. Everything in a jail cell is very unforgiving. The only thing that isn't gonna just split you open is a mat, but they're still not comfortable, and you could probably still unalive somebody with one of them.
A community-style cell block that featured multiple bunk beds, a day room, and common areas where inmates could interact. On the night of the attack, there were about 29 inmates on the cell block. The attack reportedly began after some inmates learned of Cruz's alleged history as a child molester. According to witnesses, statements, and affidavits, one inmate allegedly warned it's about to go down, immediately sparking the violent confrontation. Cruz had been moved into general population at approximately 7:22 p.m. after being in quarantine for COVID-19 exposure. As the third shift staff began their duties, the assault commenced sometimes between 9 and 11 p.m. Inmates began by targeting Cruz, verbally accusing him of child molestation. Witnesses claim that when Cruz attempted to yell for help, he was gagged with a towel. The inmates then escalated the violence by physically assaulting him. He was forcibly removed from his bunk and kicked off the bed. Inmates wrapped torn sheets around their hands to hype each other up and coordinate the attack. The reason they ripped that off is to cover their knuckles from busted openings.
So, I want to put something into perspective. This is a 30-man cell block. So, more than 33% of the people in the cell block had contributed to unaliving this man. Now, I'm assuming, well, what I know, none of them were there for no driving while suspended or anything like that. A lot of them were facing other very serious charges. I know at least one of them is doing time for unaliving another person. But that's regardless. I mean, 33% of the whole jail pod took over and delivered pure justice to the man. Now, he was charged with multiple, like 6-8 counts of something that had to do something with the minor, him being over 21 and the minor being under 14. So it didn't say the exact age, but at the time of his death, he was 38. So that kind of puts a little more into perspective. He was in his late 30s messing with children under the age of 14 years old. So, and it's unfortunate that these guys risk their freedom and their lives for this cause, but at the same time, it is like that, and a lot of them will do that. I'm just surprised it happened in the county jail. I'm surprised he wasn't put into a special section with a bunch of them, because there's a bunch of them everywhere, and especially in Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a rough city. Per capita, some years back, it was technically, they had more murders per capita than Chicago, which everybody in the damn world knows Chicago is not the place to play. Let's get back into this.
They don't have any cuts or anything like that, almost like a glove. They wrap it real tight, so when they're beating him, you know, when they go to check the hands to see who was there, can't see shit. They reportedly struck Cruz.
That's a very common practice before a fight, before anything. You wrap up your hands, and you wrap it tight, you wrap them thick, because you do not want to get caught fighting, and I'm sure they didn't go into this planning on unaliving anybody, but hey, it happened, and sounds like things got very intense in this jail cell.
Including beating him with a food tray. During the assault, they hogtied him with a sheet, shoved his head into it.
And might I add, them food trays, it's not like the thin school lunch trays. They're about 2 inches thick, and them things are also very unforgiving. And if you hit them with the side of it, the wide part, okay, not so bad. But if you hit them with the 2-inch part, I've seen people split open with one hit, knocked out cold. I've seen a person hit so hard, he'd shit himself with one of them. And I think the one that he was hit with had happened to be waterlogged, which happens a lot. And you know the second you pick up the tray, when it's like 6 pounds, that there's water and you can feel it moving around and stuff. Well, imagine just getting hit repeatedly, head anywhere, with one of them. Even get hit a couple times with one of them. It's horrific. It's a very devastating blow. It's no different than a 2x4. Except I've seen a 2x4 break. I ain't never seen a state food tray break.
Toilet, poured bleach on him and stomped on his head. The assault was so brutal, the witnesses described it as a prolonged, systematic beating. Some inmates actively trying to prevent Cruz from escaping or defending himself. When officers finally arrived on the scene, Cruz was found face down in the middle of his cell with severe head injuries. He was rushed to the hospital where he died approximately 74 minutes after being found unresponsive. Investigators also noted that Cruz had suffered a previous attack in a different cell a few months earlier, where he was found with severe bruising, bleeding from his left ear. There was also mention of another assault in the same cell block days before his fatal beating, further highlighting the volatile environment within the facility. At least 7 inmates have been charged with the murder in connection with Cruz's death. The individuals charged include Gamron Tedford, Kevin Donaldson, Clayton Hagan, Jalen Ryle, David Sparks, Lazy and Watkins, DeLon Thatcher. The 8th inmate, Jeremy Satsfield, has been charged with aggravated battery, a level 3 felony. Other co-defendants have been identified.
So I can tell you for sure, 100% certainty, that one of them is home right now. One of them individuals that were charged with unaliving Martin Cruz And I'm going to post his creepy ass mugshot. I mean, you could tell. Like, if you saw that man walking down the road, as any adult, you're going to be looking to protect any child around. If you're a father, you're going to be grabbing your kid. I promise you. If you saw this creep walking down the road, I'm looking at his mugshot on my computer right now. It's just, I mean, good riddance, you piece of crap.
And court documents will remain filed under seal, pending further proceedings. The investigation involved witness statements from other inmates, though many were initially reluctant to come forward due to fear of retaliation. Forensic evidence such as blood spatter and the injury documented on the autopsy supported the severity of the assault. Autopsy revealed Cruz sustained at least 18 injuries to the head, a dislocated neck, multiple injuries to his thorax, including bruised ribs and numerous lacerations. The incident was also examined in the context of prior assaults on Cruz, prompting further internal reviews of jail security and monitoring practices. The community-style design of the cell block has cited as a factor in the vulnerability of inmates, where the lack of individual cells can sometimes allow coordinated group violence to occur with little to immediate oversight. Following the incident, corrections officials initiated an internal investigation into the assault and circumstances leading up to Cruz's death. Following the incident, corrections officials initiated an internal investigation into the assault and the circumstances leading up to the Cruz death. In a related incident, a week later, another inmate was fatally stabbed, which led to an additional disciplinary actions against several jail employees for failing to conduct proper wellness checks. That's what happens when you hurt kids. To have that level of violence.
And that's a fact. Now, like he said, the jail is under investigation, which rightfully so. I'm not trying to give any approval of this Martin Cruz's choice of what he had done. But I do understand the fact that because of having been in prison and in jail, and in most cases, these individuals are going to be protected. They're going to be safe because they're going to be in a cell block with many other individuals with the same exact charges, some even worse. I know it doesn't get much worse than a level 1 felony, which is the worst felony you can get. It's like 20 to 50 years. The next step is unaliving somebody, raping somebody, which, I mean, I don't know the details of it because everything was dismissed due to the demise of the man. But I believe that he should have been protected. He should have been facing trial. And by just putting him in a cell block with people that aren't of the same category of criminal, like, people that have unalived somebody for over some real violence, they never hurt no kids or nothing like that. They robbed somebody, killed somebody. I'm not saying any of that's okay, but I'm not condoning none of that. But to put this man in a cell deck with those men is setting everybody up for failure. It's setting him up to lose his life, which, again, good riddance. But it's setting up those guys to throw their lives away. And on a violent offense, you take somebody's life, 65 years at 85%. For wiping somebody out that was going to be going to jail, to prison, for 20 to 50 years, and looking at the charges, it was more likely going to be 40, maybe even 50 years. The charges seemed pretty heinous. And like I said, level 1 felony, 20 to 50 years. He had like 6, 8 different felonies. And I know 3 or 4 of them were that of chomoing, touching the kids. At least 4 of them. So that's 80 to 200 years. And a lot of these guys risked throwing their whole lives away for this scumbag that had already put his life away. And I tell you one thing, his life in prison wasn't going to be pleasant. He wasn't going to no SSO camp. He had too much time that he was facing. He was going to be going to maximum security penitentiary with the big boys. And the big boys were going to either take his life there, or he was going to be gobble for the next 50 years. I mean, he's going to be beating them hot dogs off his cheeks and smiling about it because he's alive. Let's get back into this.
Bestowed upon you is not a coincidence. For over 10 inmates literally hogtie you to the point they shove your head in the toilet, pour bleach on you, and when you try to get away, they grab you and drag you back. Think about that. You're in jail, prison, you hurt children. Officers are letting over 10 inmates pour bleach, chemicals all over you, hogtie you, shove your head in the toilet, beat you half to death, then finally kill you. You're screaming and yelling, they shove a towel in your mouth. Think about how those kids felt, right? Nobody gives a fuck, because you didn't give a fuck when you hurt those children. Now you're in there, you're crying for your life, and that's a brutal death. But just think about all the children's lives that are ruined by the system. And finally, the only time the system doesn't fail these children is when it's too late and the COs let this shit happen and look the other way or set it up so it happens. It's a dirty game, but you leave our kids alone. Stay out, stay free, us.
That being said, I mean, he said it perfect. And, I mean, like I said, it's very unfortunate that those guys were put in this situation to face more time than they were already facing. Because people like this shouldn't be able to walk the earth. They shouldn't be able to breathe the same oxygen a real human being breathes. But like I said, there's going to be another video coming with this. It's going to be attached. I'm going to link them together. So, yeah, there'd be kind of like 2 different videos in one. But hey, always remember, never forget life's choices. And if they ain't hating it, you ain't making it. Oh yeah, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that channel if y'all want to help out. Nate G219 signing out. Peace. Hey, this is still Nate G219. I'm still here. And like I said, I was going to do a little more research. I just wanted to know what the outcome of the gentleman involved in Martin Cruz's death. So, there's only one Jalen Ryle is serving, I believe, 25 years for the piece of crap's death. Delance Hatcher is serving a 5-year sentence on that, but he's got a 65-year sentence on another unaliving case. So his earliest possible release date is 2061. Jalen's is 2038. Jeremy Satterfield has, from what I can find, no convictions that have anything to do with Mr. Cruz's death, but his earliest possible release date is 2082, and it's on a different unaliving case. David Sparks, he's a free man. So I couldn't really find if he was convicted of anything that had anything to do with this. If it was just like battery or something. But he's home. He's home. Same with Clayton Hagan. Gamron Tedford. He beat the case. His earliest possible release date, unfortunately, is 2054, but that has to do with a 48-year sentence on a different murder case. And same with the LaShawn Watkins. He got a 5-year sentence for this. But that man's release date is 2200. So not 2000, not 21, 2200. I didn't even, I can look at the date right now. I was blown away. May 18th, 2200. He's got a long time. He caught 4 bodies, 4 robberies, and then 5 years for Mr. Cruz. So that dude's never coming home unless something dramatic happens. But it's regardless. These men did risk their lives because of the pure hate of harming a child and doing what Martin Cruz had done. I mean, multiple counts of kitty fiddling. Multiple. And case dismissed. Life dismissed. But I hope y'all liked today's story. And I'm going to try to get back to it and get more coming at you. So, bear with me. Also been a little sick. I work. I'm a dad. I have life outside of the YouTube. But please hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that channel if you want to help out. Never forget life's choices, guys. You never know what's going to happen. You never know if you're going to end up being so angry at somebody. You take your anger out, you know, you find yourself doing some stupid jail. But now, as you see, none of these guys were petty criminals. None of them. Not one that was in this pod. So for them, the jail to send Cruz to that pod, they knew they were putting his life at risk. That was intentional. It's always intentional. The guards know what they're doing. They do this shit all the time. But they also put an inmate, a convict's life at risk from ever coming home again because they knew what they were doing. They knew that he wasn't going to make it in there. And, you know, I've seen several different reports, like the reaction. He said the guy was in there 2 full days. I've read things that said he wasn't in the dorm for 2 full hours before the attack began. But none of that matters. Like I said, never forget life's choices. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, though. Please, help me out, y'all. Hit that like and subscribe. But hey, if they ain't hating it, you ain't making it. Nate G219 signing out. Peace.